Every month, a ton of new mobile games are released, and GameRanks gets them together to show you the best ones. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the 10 best free iOS and Android games of June 2019. Just a quick disclaimer, we used to do this as two different videos, one for the best free games and one for the best paid games. Now we're just doing the paid games as bonus because there just aren't enough of them released every month, and we feel like it's just best to do it all in one swoop. Coming in at number 10, Dawn of Isles. And as a big fan of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I just have to immediately say that this is going to conjure memories of that for you if you've played it. However, it is an MMO, which actually really works out well for it because it gives it something different. It's a little bit slow to start, starts with tutorial stuff, showing you how to play the game, where to go with the game, etc. But once it gets going, this game is so fun, worth it, and it manages to embody that same kind of feel that you get from Breath of the Wild, except in an MMO. And even though it's a lot simpler in some cases, and in some cases actually a little bit more complicated, the combat is kind of a hybrid system that will remind you of a lot of different games, from the online Final Fantasies to Black Desert Online to even World of Warcraft. Honestly, this is a game that would take a very long time to fully explain, but if you like the idea of an MMO that's very much like Breath of the Wild, this is where to go for that. Dawn of Isles is out now on iOS and Android. Coming in at number 9 is Night Brawl. Now, yes, this is a Brawl game. It is not a particularly complex one, but I think you'll find that the elements it adds in order to compensate for the lack of controls, touch Brawl might be pretty awful actually, is that every weapon is basically a spinning thing, and for whatever reason, this becomes really fun really fast. Now, the art style's not going to knock your socks off at all, but it's certainly serviceable. It's not confusing, it's bright, it's colorful, it's fun, but it's really the gameplay that's so simple and yet so effective that works so well here. The dev is also constantly working on updates, so that's great too. Night Brawl is out on iOS and Android right now. Coming in at number 8, Dungeon Tales is a roguelike turn-based RPG deck builder. Basically, you choose your turns through procedurally generated dungeons, fight off enemies, and collect cards. Now, what I like about this game is that it doesn't just pick a route. It's kind of all of these kinds of games at once without feeling like too much of a trying to shoehorn in several different types of games. The turn-based RPG elements just shine really well. The battle system is really effective. The art style I enjoy the hell out of. It's actually something unto itself, which is not common in the mobile space now. Dungeon Tales is currently out on Android. Coming in at number 7 is Lego Tower. Now, if you're familiar with other tower building games, I would say you basically know what you're getting here. However, you're getting a lot more Lego-themed stuff, a lot more collectibles, a lot more visually distinct sections, and there's not really dinosaur stuff in a lot of these tower games. Lego Tower is very much like Tiny Tower if you open up to the absurdity of exactly how far-reaching the LEGO licensing is. And while they're not exactly, indulging the licenses, there's a lot of stuff that makes a lot of, nods towards, the superhero stuff. It may not be exactly that, but it's certainly a good version of Tiny Tower in my head. LEGO Tower is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 6, HEXAFLIP. This is a hexagonal maze where you tap left or right, you go one move at a time, and you end up solving these very, very visually pleasing or collecting abstract puzzles. I enjoy it. It's got over 80 levels and they get progressively more difficult. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's not a difficult one to explain. Any footage of it basically makes the game plain. It's as fun as it looks. If it doesn't look fun to you, it's not going to be fun to you. But if it does, it will. HEXAFLIP is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 5, it's Harry Potter Wizards Unite, which is Wizardmon Go, basically. Poke Wizard Go. It pretty much does exactly what you expect it to do, and that's either good or bad here. If you don't like Pokemon Go style games, just don't even bother trying it, because it's not going to be for you. However, if you are open to these types of augmented reality games, this is a more than competent one. I would even say a pretty darn good one. Because it does go quite a bit beyond, hey, it's a pocket monster, throw the Pokeball at it, man, to, different spells, different wands, portals opening. I mean, it really goes well beyond the original concept of Pokemon Go, and for that reason, I think it deserves some bit of lauding. It deserves credit for that. Now, I don't think it's going to convert people who don't like this type of game, but for people who are maybe tired of this kind of game, I think it injects a much-needed boost of adrenaline to the genre. Harry Potter Wizards Unite is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 4 is Shop Titans. Now, this might sound silly to you right off, because it's basically building a store where you build and sell armor, gear, swords, etc., and try to make a business prosper and basically build a town with your friends if you're interested. There's also a lot of questing. You can go out for loot. It helps you build new things, obviously. I wouldn't call it a business simulator because it's, I think, maybe a little bit on the not so real side. A lot of things don't really work like real life, but I don't know that I'd consider that a bad thing. It's a fun game, it explains itself very clearly. I wasn't confused, I wasn't bored, I enjoyed it, and I feel like for people looking for this type of game, this is the one you probably want to try this month. Shop Titans is out on iOS and Android right now. Number 3, Breaking Bad Criminal Elements. A very timely game, which is a Breaking Bad base builder driven by the same type of story that you get in the actual Breaking Bad show, except for it obviously doesn't end with you dying. Or maybe it does, I don't know. I haven't beaten it yet. It basically is a good base builder, a competent one that's fun, it's not overcomplicated, it's not boring, it's not too much, with a skin over it for fans of Breaking Bad that makes it more interesting. I will say this is a game that's a little bit late. This probably would have been better received a few years ago when base builders were really a big thing. That being said, it is a great example of a base builder, and I enjoyed it. Breaking Bad Criminal Elements is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 2, TALION, which is a really well-made, pretty 3D MMORPG. What's great, this game has 20 versus 20 PvP fights, and that is probably worth the entry price alone. It's got a good battle system, it's got various different modes like team battles, death matches, and Occupy, which is a command post capturing mode. Honestly, in a lot of ways, it feels a lot like a PC game from a couple years ago. It's got great graphics. Reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy, the online ones, which I like a lot. And even though it has a fairly limited color palette for the most part, when things get going, it becomes really colorful, which I like. And it's got a lot of character creation options. TALION is out now on iOS and Android. And finally, coming in at number 1, it's Nonstop Knight 2. This is an action RPG, a hack and slash. It's a game that manages to do the controls of an action RPG quite well without any visual indication on screen. It's very simple to do. You'll find yourself intuitively not having any issue with this game control-wise. It uses a nice, simple, colorful art style that's very easy to keep track of what's going on screen, and considering exactly how simple the controls are, that's a good thing, because if you get lost, it's one of those things that might feel like the controls were inadequate, but I definitely never found that to be the case. Honestly, it's a game that moves along really well. I love the pacing of this game. It doesn't really let up on you. I don't love the guy's face. I don't know, for whatever reason his face bothers me, but not enough for me to not play the game. It may just be that grin. I don't know. It's a lot. The game itself, however, in basically every other way than his face, is really fun, and I intend to continue playing it. Nonstop Knight 2 is out on iOS and Android right now. And a couple of quick bonus games for you. These are the paid games. First is Cultist Simulator, which we've covered before. It's out on Android now. It was previously only out on iOS. It is a card game in which you're immersed in choice-based storytelling through a roguelike mechanical framework that I think is really fun, and it's super simple to get into. It is one that's going to take up a lot of your time if you get immersed in it, and I think it will. It's got a really well-made story that I enjoy quite a bit. It's $3.99. It's out on both iOS and Android now, of course. Next, and this is one I think you really need to give a shot, it's Human Fall Flat, which is essentially a wobbly parkour game. That's how it describes itself, and I would say it's an accurate one. It's got these really good touch controls that are so clear in exactly what's going on. You're a bad physics human trying to get through levels. It's a puzzle platformer. The physics are intentionally kind of weird, and I wouldn't call it bad because I would definitely say that it's intentional. Some people might have some issues with the controls. I think they're really intuitive. If you sort of pull back from your gamer sensibilities and sort of engage the game with a fresh mind, I could see how they could be confusing, but beyond that, Human Fall Flat is tremendously amusing. You'll laugh a ton, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. That's it for this month. What did you play? What did you like? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconHero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanks.